Yo, check it. Ninth and 10th regions, stand up. I say stand up. Stand up. Bright light shining, about to put on the show. The Stay Hot podcast where the real ones go. High school hoops, future legends on deck. Talking next up, stars sporting Nike check. From the hardwood grind to the highlight play. Breaking ankles, dropping dimes, scoring every way. Chasing big moments in every manner. From driveway dreams to championship banners. It's the passion, the culture, the hustle, the grind. Every jumper, every crossover, greatness defined. Shooting the deep three or rocking the rims on the small town stage or in sold out gyms. So lace up your kicks, turn the volume up. The season don't end till we get to rough. Future legends in the making, every player grinds. A Stay Hot podcast where the stars align.
Welcome to the Stay Hot podcast. I'm Coach Patrick Kelsch. Along with me is Evan Dennison. As we say, even though it's cold and wintry outside, Evan, we can always be inside with us and we can stay hot.
You know it.
We got Coach Michael Walker from Lloyd Memorial on with us tonight. And Coach, thanks for joining us. Sunday nights are tough for a lot of people, but we do appreciate you taking time out of your night to spend it with us.
No, thank you for having me.
Good deal. Mike, man, it's good to have you on. I know I haven't been able to see you guys yet this year, but, you're keeping the train rolling, man. The Juggernauts are they're still going. I mean, you guys are sitting here 13-4, turning a lot of heads, playing good basketball. What do you like about this team so far as we're a little bit halfway, through the season now?
They play hard. I think losing what we lost from the past previous years, a lot of people didn't really know what we had. I didn't either. When you get a new group of guys that are young and eager, fortunately for us, we have two guards that, got a lot of playing time last year. One is Anthony Blaker and I'm Isaiah Goldsby. But they're coachable. They listen. They try to learn. It's kind of fun because you kind of have to reteach everything that you've been, trying to teach those previous guys that kind of already knew it. But they play hard. I mean, that's all I can really ask for. They play hard, even though they make mistakes. They just keep playing hard. So I think that's kind of what we've been hanging our hat on.
Have they surprised you even? Because I remember reading the story going into the season, a preview of you guys that I think you said you had maybe 4 guys at the moment because they're all playing football and you didn't know quite yet. So I mean, have they kind of surprised you how they really just kind of hit the ground running right off the bat?
Yeah. You never know what you got until you have, probably 3 to 4 weeks of practice. You kind of get a good idea. And, shout out to our football team making it that far in the state, playoffs and everything. So I didn't know what I was going to have. I didn't know who was kind of going to be, those 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th guys off the bench for us. So we kind of took the first 3 or 4 or 5 games just to kind of figure us out a little bit. And, I believe iron sharpens iron. So, the success of the football programs had, those guys came over and brought it with them. So, yeah, I was surprised. I mean, if you would have asked me in October and November, we'd be sitting here 13-4. I probably been a little bit optimistic about it.
The one known we did know about was Anthony Blaker and what he's been able to do. Obviously a strong high school career, but this year really taking the reins on with EJ and that big senior class gone. And it looks like he hasn't skipped a beat. He's averaging about 23 a night. He's doing it efficiently. He's shooting about 57% from the field, hitting about 45% of his threes, 85% from the line. What do you kind of point to that? I mean, obviously, I'm sure he's a very hard worker when we're not seeing him in the gym, but what is his formula to success and just how efficient he's been this year in leading the team?
He knew he had to take more shots this year than he has in the past, but I feel like he still is poised and efficient on when he takes his shots. Gets to his spots that he knows he can score from. But also, one thing I can say is, man, he's really believed in this group of guys. I think Isaiah Goldsby kind of stepped up and helped carry some of that load. But it's just being efficient, understanding when to score and when not to score, not overshoot when he doesn't need to. So I just think that maturity and kind of understanding that. Still, for me, I'm still like, man, you need to shoot the ball more. But just I think that's the biggest thing is knowing where his spots are and where he can score from.
And the positivity he exudes. I mean, I read Mike Dyer did something on him from WCPO, and I thought that was a really neat story. Just how positive he is, and just he's always trying to uplift someone, whether it's on or off the court at school or whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely, super positive. He always has a smile on his face 95% of the time. Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Sorry about that. 95% of the time. But I think he gets that from his mother. His mother is really always in a positive space all the time. So I think he inherited that from her. And I also think that helps his poise and stuff when he plays because he always just finds the positivity in any moment.
What about the rest of these guys? Isaiah Goldsby, you mentioned, Jason Kabaya. He's new to the program, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He transferred in from Simon Kenton over the summer, like midsummer. He did his sophomore.
Okay.
Isaiah Goldsby is he's kind of been in that role position, the past couple years. This year he really honed in on his game, worked really hard over the offseason. Really, really high IQ point guard. Um, but he had to kind of take that next step of, you got to be the Robin to the Batman type
Yeah.
of deal. He's done really well with that. And also he's guarded every team's best player.
Hmm.
Every game he guards every team's best player. Jason Kabaya, he's future's bright for him. A lot of ceilings high potential. Really crafty guard, great on ball defender. Isaiah Coleman, he's a junior. He's 6'3" kid, real athletic. A lot of potential, plays hard, rebounds a lot for us. Colton Barger. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that name. He was
Football. Yeah.
the receiver. Yeah, the receiver, sophomore receiver from the football team. He stepped up big off the bench. Billy Lewis played football. Tough inside presence. But those guys have really bought into what we're trying to do and kind of really great supporting cast around Anthony, and it showed in the Beechwood game. Beechwood played Anthony pretty well defensively, and those guys stepped up big time.
And this is where things really get real for you all with your schedule. The way it worked out, I mean, you got 4 straight district games. That's kind of unique. You don't really get to see that often, but this is where you kind of can really earn your number 1 seed in that district. And obviously Tuesday night's going to be a big one with Dixie Heights. And just talk about these 4 games in this district and just how important this little stretch is for you guys for the season.
I feel like this is the most important part of the season. That's something we've always hung our hat on. The other games is great and everything. RPI doesn't matter in basketball, but these 4 games is it. I mean, this kind of lays the foundation of what to expect going down the road. And then we'll see on Tuesday, if what to do with this weather or whatever. But Dixie's really, really good. Really good. They're really good. Well coached. St. Henry, even though they're not having the season that maybe they expect, but they're still, I mean, with Sullivan there, they're still really, really well coached. So it's a tough one. This next week and a half is gonna be it's gonna be our biggest test of the year.
How do you navigate that with these guys in the snow? I mean, it's gotta be tough. I mean, you don't know when you'll see them again. I mean, it
No.
could be Wednesday, it could be, it could be down the road.
Right, for sure. A lot of film. A lot of film, a lot of film, a lot of film. It's pretty much, kind of all we can do. It's just watch a lot of film right now and just tell those guys, don't go sledding, don't play out in the snow, stay inside.
Good luck.
Try not to be a kid for the next couple of days. But I mean, that's really all you can do. Hope and pray that we can get in the gym before Tuesday.
At what point in this season did you maybe realize, all right, we're in this thing? I mean, you've beat Ryle, you've played Connor. Greg Crossing was a close game. You beat you won a tight one with Beechwood. You beat Simon Kenton pretty handily. What point did you're like, all right, man, we're right in this thick of the region. Obviously, Covcast, what they're able to do this year, but I mean, you guys have an argument right there to be right behind them.
The Christmas tournament. When we went down to Lexington Christian, that tournament kind of was kind of speaking to us on that North game when we beat North Hardin pretty handily, and saw some guys kind of grow up a little bit, and also that was like we actually had some practices under our belt. I know that was huge, but right then and there we felt like we could have something there. Um, and then we beat Fern Creek. And then I think kind of there, I was like, okay, we got a chance to still be really pretty darn good. Um, and but that was our turning point for me was okay, we got some things now. I kind of got a feel of what we can be, who can do what, who can't, and then we kind of springboarded from there.
Good deal. Let's talk about EJ a little bit. Your son, obviously, they're a freshman at South Carolina. It looks like the last 3 SEC games, he's getting some real good runs. 17 minutes, 19 minutes, 19 minutes. Looks like he's in the rotation now.
Yeah. It's been an up and down road. At first we got down there. He's the youngest on the team. He kind of decided to redshirt early on because we just didn't know if the minutes were going to be there. And then he was on scout team and just working really hard, and pretty much he was killing in practice. And then coach had a discussion with him and us, kind of see would it be a good idea to actually lift that red shirt. So it took us a couple Zoom meetings to kind of figure it out if that would be the case. And EJ, he was like, man, I could do this. I want to play. So we were like, all right, man, let's do it. And he's worked really hard. He's got into the 6.5, 7th man rotation when it counts. So SEC play, man, it's tough, and he's playing really well, playing really good defense. I still think he's still trying to figure some things out because those other guys been playing for 7-9 games prior to when he got there. Yeah, he's just working and doing the things he needs to get on the floor.
I didn't even know you could do that. I thought like once you determine, hey, I want to be a red shirt, like that was like set in stone. I didn't even know how that process worked.
Man, it's how the NCAA is, man, with all the craziness going on right now.
If you can sign 3 NBA contracts and still be eligible to play, then you can probably lift that red shirt if you need to.
Absolutely. I think Alabama just got a guy that just played 3 years in the G League, and he played first game was like last night.
It's a crazy world out there. And like you said, he's the youngest kid on the team. I mean, he's 18 right now?
Just turned 19 in December.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going up against grown men. I'm sure a lot of these guys in the SEC that
24.
are 4th and 5th year seniors are 22 to 24 years old, and that's a big difference at that point in time.
For sure, yeah. He said it. He said, man, I forget what game it was. He went to go box a dude out. He was like, man, I just laid on him because he was so bigger and strong. He was like 26 years old. But just watching him play and just watching his growth and his maturity is unbelievable. And for me, I kind of we don't talk about basketball a whole lot unless he brings it up. My wife told me, man, I had to take the hat of dad, so that's kind of what I do. But just tell him to keep working. That's all you can do. Being a contributor in the SEC as a freshman, and you don't see a whole lot of kids doing that outside of your normals like there's a cuff and things of that nature.
How tough is it? Like, I mean, how many games have you been able to even go to? Because Columbia's got to be an 8-hour drive at least.
7 and some change because I-40's down to 1 lane.
Yeah.
With me driving, I can get there under 7. I've been to 2. I think my wife's been to 3. And she plans to go back down there here in the next couple of weeks. I know she's going down there to watch them. So for me, it's a little harder because I'm in season, but for her, she's plans on getting down to I think probably 2 or 3 more.
That's cool. And you got a daughter that plays volleyball down in Florida, right?
Yeah. Peyton Walker. She started middle this year at Eckerd College. They actually Eckerd. Yep, it's right there on the beach of St. Petersburg,
St. Pete.
Florida.
Okay.
They made the NCAA tournament this year. They lost in the first round, but they made it. So she had that experience. And she's killing it. She's doing really well. I went down there to watch. They have a classic like Thursday through Sunday. So I'll get down there to get to watch a couple games, but we watch her up here a lot. And she FaceTimes me a lot, and she's on the beach. And it's like 85-degree weather and all that. Yep.
I would die for that right now.
I was gonna say she's probably not jealous of what you're looking out your window right now. So.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right, where the athletic genes come from, mom or dad? That's what I got to know.
Me, for sure, me.
He didn't waste any time.
Absolutely.
You're from Dayton, right? Up in that area?
You're originally Yellow Springs, Ohio. But
Mhm.
yeah, the Dayton area. Came down here '03, and then finished up, and then started coaching college basketball in 2010 up at Columbus State Community College. Was there for 3 years. Then I came over to Cincinnati State
Mm.
Community College and was there for 10 years. And then kind of took a step back because my kids were getting older and I wanted to be involved more because that college coaching life is like nonstop. And then I came over to Lloyd. Well, I went for the job, didn't get it, and I had to coach eighth grade at Tichenor and work my way up. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's pretty my small coaching resume.
So that was at JUCO then, pretty much.
Yeah. Junior college, the grind. I miss it. The recruiting aspect and dealing with the JUCO, man. You can coach in junior college, man. You can coach anywhere in the country because
That's what I'm wondering, like
it's a lot.
how well that prepped you, because you don't really have a coaching staff. There's what, maybe 2 assistants
Yeah, it's maybe 2
max.
assistants. So
So
my first head coach I knew prior, but at Cincinnati State, my head coach I was under, we had me and 2 other ones, and then we had an older guy who volunteered. But Andre Tate, he played for UC
Mhm.
in the
yeah.
Hugs days. He was the
Mhm.
head coach and a really close friend of mine still to this day. I was under him, and I mean we were one of the top JUCO programs in the country when I was there. But yeah, I learned a lot. You learned a lot of the I was the head recruiter and then also, skill development for the post guys. So just being under him and then being able to go to watch UC practices and things like that, you learn a lot. So coming over, one thing I had to adjust to though was going from college and coaching eighth graders. My wife, my girlfriend, but at the time, but it's now my wife. She had it to like you're not coaching 28, 21, 20-year-old. You have to kind of dumb it
Yeah,
down a little
it's a
bit.
big range. Yeah.
um, but nah, JUCO's a different beast. It is, man. You get like 20 guys, like 18 guys start the season, and by halfway through, you have like 10.
Mm.
But we've coached a lot of talent, and so those days are fun.
What have these past few years been like, being able to see EJ grow up and coach him all the way through, and looking at Anthony? I assume he's kind of like a second son to you as well.
Yeah. It was at first I was straight coach, more coaching than dad. But
Yeah.
after that, just watching his growth and watching him evolve as an athlete and a basketball player, and then also as a young man, and going through that process with him of the recruiting and the AAU and the long travels, and then just seeing how all that stuff works. It was unreal to actually go through that with your child, along with my daughter too. So, and then just now, it was when we lost in the regional finals. It was more of and I was upset that we lost, but it was more of that chapter was closed with me and my son.
Mm.
And if people have ever coached their kid, they know how that feels because it's no more. Um, but just having that, being able to be a pivotal point in his basketball career, is priceless. I would do it over and over again.
The
And
process
then
that
for Anthony, yeah,
yeah.
then for Anthony, it's a different process, because he didn't have the luxury of playing a lot of AAU growing up until this last year when he was on the Under Armour circuit. But just watching his growth, like earlier, and his maturity, and actually being that small pivotal point in his life. Hopefully when 5, 10 years from now he looks back, I know he'll be thankful for that.
And with him, I assume, is he wanting this season to play out before he kind of commits somewhere? Because I know he's got a couple of offers out there.
Yeah, he is. Just trying to figure out the avenue, with the portal and everything. Is tough. He's a division. Everyone tells us he's a Division 1 talent. He's kind of still hidden under the radar type of kid in the state and the recruiting world. So just we can figure out what's the best avenue to get where he wants to go. If it's if he gets a Division 1 offer and he goes, or if he goes D2 and plays a year or two and tries to move up, or he goes JUCO for a year, just what that avenue really looks like and the best option for him. So yeah, we're gonna play the year out.
That's cool. And after this district slate, it looks like things slow down here in February. I still see Highlands on there. Still see Connor on there one more time. What are you really looking to get accomplish out of this group over these final 10 games or so before the postseason comes?
Just for us to keep getting better. I still don't think we've peaked yet. I think we're kind of right on the cuff, so getting there. Get through districts. I love playing Highlands and Connor Lake. I think it helps prepare us for the district tournament. Two kind of different style of plays a little bit. And then we got some games in there that aren't as tough because you kind of got to find that balance of hard games, some practice time, but doing that and just keep rolling, just keep getting better and keep letting these younger guys grow in these games. Because I told them you're never gonna play a tougher game than when you go play Dixie and St. Henry. That's just not it until you get to the regional tournament. Like it's different. The game and the Beechwood game kind of helped us too because they kind of play similar to how Dixie plays.
Yeah.
So when I make a schedule, I kind of just try to find certain things that kind of prepares for that district play.
They're gonna screen you to death. You know that.
Oh man, yes, yeah, for sure.
It's got code and screens.
Yep. Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. There is a lot of them.
Patrick knows about that.
I've coached against Coach Code several times. Yeah, his teams always execute too. It's not just out there to be screening. They make sure they hit you on the screen and they use their screens. It's a different kind of basketball.
It is. So just those, like I said, the guys that we have now, except for two of them, they've never experienced it, and it's different. It's tougher, a lot harder.
It's just it's kind of crazy to me that I coach in the 10th and I coach girls, so it's a little bit different than on the boys side. But you play games in the 8th, you play some in the 9th, you play some in the 10th, you may even play some in the 11th, and it seems like no matter what region you go to, the games are called differently. It's like we play 4 different styles of basketball, and you don't really know how to tell your kids, what to prepare for, how physical can you be, or what because in the 10th region, it's like you breathe on them sometimes, and you're getting to the line. In the 9th region, if they're not giving you an arm bar, making you tap out, there's no whistle. It's rough. Very physical.
For sure.
Brand.
No, it is. I try to get around the states as much as I can, not too far south. Like Louisville and Lexington is probably the farthest I'll go. We went to Ashland last year for that tournament, but no, you're right. Like it's just I kind of got a good feel the last couple of years. I'm like, look, when we go down here, this is kind of pretty much what it's going to look like. But it's tough. It's hard, and sometimes we go over to Ohio, and you go play them GLC teams, man, and it's totally different.
Yeah, because I was looking, I saw where you play Mason County at Bracken County, and you'll have 10th region referees, and I mean your kids may be they may all be in foul trouble. What's allowed in your region may be an intentional foul in our region. I mean it's just, and it's hard for when you go out of region to play, or it's even worse in the postseason when you get another region's referees to call your regional tournament. You play with your region refs all year, but then they're going to send in the 4th region to call your regional tournament. I'm not a big fan of the switching regions for that reason only. You play with your guys all year long, and then you get to the regional tournament, and they're going to send in another region where the game's called totally different.
Yeah, we've run into that too a lot. Especially last year, the Ryle game, it was like at some point we couldn't breathe on it. I'm like, man, look, dude, this is how we play up here, and I think Dorney was telling the same thing. Like, man, look, like let us play. Like that's we play physical. We're okay. But yeah, I agree. It's tough. So that's sometimes if I can figure out who's on the game, I can call around if I know any coaches to kind of get a good idea of how they ref. How they ref the game.
And that's one thing I noticed whenever I do talk to other coaches talking about Lloyd is they know they're going to be in. They're going to defend you. And they're going to be physical, and I think that's something that relies on your principles and what you want to do defensively. And, getting those guys to buy into that is a really good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Defense. I was under 2 coaches who that's all they harped on was defense. So that's something that I've just been accustomed to. Like, I'm not big on, I want to play I like playing up tempo, but I want to hold them guys under certain standard to whatever game it is. But like defense, man, we work on so much defensive drills and stuff in practice that and for me it's like my guys are like, man, can we play more zone? No, you gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out. Like that's our philosophy is if you can't guard your man, then I'm not gonna bail you out playing zone.
Love it.
I do too, because on the girls' side now, it seems like everybody's playing zone. And
Mm.
when I first got into coaching about 20-some years ago, it's like everybody was man-to-man. If you couldn't play man-to-man, you just wasn't going to play. And nowadays, I don't know if they're trying to hide offensive players who can score the ball but can't defend, but it just seems like now everybody's coming out in some sort of 1-1-3 or a 2-3 or a 3-2, or it's just some sort of zone. And here I'm playing every possession. We're playing man-to-man primarily, and it gets us in foul trouble. But I'd like to think that it's also part of the reason why we've been successful. So,
and I'm sure
Absolutely,
Mike,
no, I agree.
I'm sure Mike, you've seen a lot of boxing ones over the last few years. It
Man,
starts
listen.
obviously with EJ, and then now this year, I'm sure you're seeing a lot too.
That boxing ones and zones, I think our first, outside of maybe Ryle, like our first 8 games were 2-3 zones and 3-2s. And I was just like, man, I was just like, we don't have a zone offense in because we only have 2 practices because of football. So we just kind of winged it. But now, yeah, we see a lot of boxing one or some type of version of it.
Yeah.
Zones, things of that nature. But due to Anthony, man, he really improved his 3-ball. So that's kind of it's kind of evening out a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if there was a knack for his game going into this year, it would have been how perimeter oriented he is, and the numbers so far are showing that he's worked on that quite a bit.
For sure. Yeah, we long hours in the gym with him. Shooting, getting it together. Absolutely.
Good. Well, Patrick, I don't have much else for Mike unless you got something else. Mike, appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, being with us during this snowstorm, and hopefully you guys can get on the court here soon.
Snowmageddon.
Absolutely. Yeah, snow is nuts. I'll be out shoveling snow tomorrow. But thank you. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
And
Appreciate it.
everything,
Best of luck this week. I know those district games are important. I'm supposed to have one this week as well, but I'd say snow's probably already canceled it. I'm just not aware of it yet. So,
well, good luck to you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys for having me.
All right. Hopefully I'll see you Tuesday.
Absolutely. See you guys.
All right.
Coach Walker, enjoyed listening to him. And of course, when you've coached your son and your son's playing SEC basketball as a freshman, he's probably got a lot of knowledge and experiences. And I'd love to hear about some of those recruiting pitches that, because I know he was sought after by multiple D1 schools. It wasn't just
North
Carolina.
It was like every practice there was a Big Ten school there. I'll go to a game, I see an Iowa hoodie, like a assistant coach there. They were on the trail, and he was very highly sought after.
Yeah, and I know Anthony. I know after Pendleton County played them first game of the year at Lloyd, I remember after we did the first initial podcast, and you had ranked him, I think, second in the region. They came back to after the games talking about just how good he was, how much of an athlete he was, and how good of a player he was. So that's just. Lloyd's had a heck of a run here the last few years. So,
yeah, and credit Mike and his staff, and they've completely changed things around there. The culture and it's a winning attitude now.
Well, it seems like just by listening to him, it seems like he's pretty straightforward. He seems like he's not telling you what you want to hear. He's being honest with you, and and that's what it takes to have success in a program and to run a program and not have short-term success, but, kind of learn how to win and sustain winning. So hats off to Coach Walker and his juggernauts. 13-4, and they've got a really good chance, like you said, to, be a number 1 seed in their district. So I think they'll have a say in the region.
Especially when you consider what they had lost from last year. I think
because I know they had a pretty big class, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 of their starting 5. I'm pretty sure the only returning starter was Anthony, and then Isaiah Goldsby was kind of in and out, I think, for a little while, just the lineup. He really came on as the year went on. But, outside of those two, the majority of those guys didn't have much varsity playing time at all. So,
and I just noticed looking here, they beat Holy Cross at the beginning of the new year.
Yeah, that's the one I thought, man, this team's legit. They're right here, and since then they've they lost a close one to Craig Crossing, who, obviously won the state championship last year, and then, won a tight one over Beechwood, and then got started off on the right note in district by beating Ludlow. So, but, like Mike said, their next 2 games are probably their most important of the regular season with Dixie and St. Henry. They win both of those, they'll pretty much.
It appears they play each district team once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them do that up here. There's not. I don't know if there's any that play each other twice. Yeah, not even in the 10th region with the 37th district, they don't play each other twice either. Which is weird because, like, you know, in your district, the 38th, you guys play each other twice. The 39th, prior to or now that they don't seed, or they do seed,
Right.
they play each other twice. And then I think in the
40th, they play everybody
they play
twice.
each other twice. So it's unique how each district throughout the state of the 64 districts, like, you know, it's not like it's like a uniform. Oh, you got to play each other twice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some districts do that though because there's not much benefit of the number 1 seed playing whoever the 4 seed is. Probably a real small school or something like that. You know, like kind of in your district with like Robertson County.
Right.
I know you guys have had there's been some very successful years there, but playing Robertson twice, if you're a Harrison, you know, I don't know how much that in the long run benefits you.
Right. Well, and that's what I've always said too. Like, I wish it was just one uniform, you know, district play or district games. There's, you know, you play each other once, you alternate year to year, home and away. And, you know, but, you know, we do play everybody twice. And it does, you know, when you play everybody twice, that's pretty well 6 games every year of your schedule. You know when there are. And it doesn't really give you much, I guess, freedom to schedule some different opponents. You know, I will say that, you know, it is kind of going away from the 2-year contracts. I mean, I don't know how many teams are still doing those.
Oh, really? So you don't have
well, no, I mean, you still do, but like, it's like with snow and stuff, it's so easy just to cancel because of snow, then not reschedule, or then you got, you know, try to find somebody else, or it just seems like there's a, you know, and if you were to play each team once, that would give you 3 more games on your schedule that you could add maybe out of region teams or other teams that, you know, could benefit you down the road in postseason or whatever. But for those that are just now tuning in, we were supposed to have Mason Rowe on right after Coach Walker, but Mason's had something come up tonight. He will be on the show at another time, but he wasn't going to be able to make it tonight. So if you're on here for Coach Monroe, I apologize. You can stay while we're just now turning up the heat. You know, it's just now getting lukewarm in here. So
let's call his brother Clay. I'm sure that would turn the heat up even more in here.
we'll just have the whole Pendleton County staff on, but Mason.
I just want I want Clay Monroe Calipari takes. That's what I want.
I don't know if that's suitable for a PG-13 podcast. That may be more rated R version, but no. But I wanted to talk to Mason. You know, they got a very big win on Friday at Harrison County. Never was really close. End up winning 16, but they were up, I think, probably 14-18 or something at the halftime, and just never really Harrison County never really could get anything going. And I think they sit at 9-9 on the year right now. Yeah, 9-9. So I'll kind of get his take on with Nicholas County in the district, and we got to play Nicholas County twice in the next. I think we play them on the 30th and the 5th of February. So we play them twice in a week because one of them was canceled because of snow. So, and we do all of our district game boy girl double headers.
Yeah, I like that though. I think that's some districts do that.
But
do y'all do you have a set like the girls play first, boys play second, or does it alternate?
It usually depends on whatever school's hosting. And now the only one that's different is when we go to Nicholas, we play second. The girls play second. And I don't know if that's for a primetime reason. I would assume that's what it is, because you know how hard sometimes it is to 40% of your schedule has to be primetime. And that's why if you go look at a lot of team schedules across the state, a lot of teams are playing on every Friday and Saturday night during the season. And it makes for a long grind. And, you know, I kind of enjoyed hearing, you know, Coach Walker talk about some things that I've had going through my mind the last few days. You know, just for a few more days, don't be kids. Stay in. Don't be sleigh riding. Don't be out having snowball fights. Don't be out riding your side-by-side on the ice. You know, just, you know, we're getting part of the season now with district games coming up in the postseason. You know, we ain't got time for that nonsense of injury or, you know, I've only had 2 games all year where I've had every player healthy. So, and it's tough. But just a couple things, you know, we may not be on as late tonight without another guest. We'll just see how it goes. But I saw where Cash Harney scored his 1,000th point this week. So congratulations, Cash.
That list was
Yeah, it was a pretty cool list I saw.
pretty neat. I thought it'd be more. Just that, they're tradition rich, but I think it also shows like at a program like that, it was similar like Mason County. It's not easy to get on the floor as like a freshman,
Or sophomore sometimes.
Yeah, or even like some of these real small schools, kids are getting on in 7th, 8th grade. So you get 5-6 years of high school basketball. Yeah, you're probably not a lot your 7th, 8th grade year, but it's giving you a head start.
And I've also heard a lot of people who don't know better or, say, why they getting recruited by so-and-so? They're only averaging 11 points a game. Well, 11 points at Mason County or 11 points at Cove Cath when you're playing a top 25 schedule every night, or say next Trinity, wherever, 11 points a game, there's pretty good. I mean, you're not getting the opportunities like you would at a smaller school. I benefited from a small school scoring 27 or 8 a game as a junior because just the amount of opportunities you get.
Yeah.
And the level of opponents you play has a lot to do with, I was looking at somebody in the 9th region earlier and I can't remember but the final score was like 40 something to 40 something. Like, I mean, that's just like, you ain't got room to score 20 a game when you're only scoring 40 as a team. So,
yeah. And then, also with Cove Cath, Athens McGillis, he's now 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 5th on the all-time scoring list there, and he's climbing. He's only 2 points behind Andy Listerman, who's 4th, and I think he'll end up finishing 2nd overall. He's 259 points shy of Evan Ipsaro, who's 2nd all-time. He has 1,987 points, and Athens is at 1,728. So you take about 10 games, 10, 15 more games they're going to play. He averages well over 20 a night. He should get there. So
yeah.
he's
but I just thought it was just neat to see some of those names and, to see Athens up there with some of the, like who's their leader,
Cole Van Hondorf.
He was, and, he started at Villa.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that, he was a good player. He really was. It was.
Yeah. And then you got, CJ Frederick.
Yeah.
Their current head coach, Jake Thielen's on there. Even an MLB baseball player, Luke Mail.
he played basketball. How many did he score?
He scored 1,019 points.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty neat stuff there. So I think what is he? Oh, he was, I think, in Kansas City this year. I know he came in like his first or second game, made a home run and latched on a little bit. But I mean, he's had a good career as a backup catcher in the major leagues.
Yeah, he's a very good defensive catcher.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's probably what he's hung his hat on in the league for so long. But
I mean, when you think about it, and this is no knock on him, but backup catchers, one of the better jobs in baseball.
You're probably playing once every 5 days. Yeah.
You usually have a pitcher that prefers you catch them, so you're their primary catcher, and the other usually your starters catching 4 out of 5 games, getting an off day.
And just
it's like a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Right. And also, if you think about it, you ain't got to go catch the bullpen. They hire somebody different for a bullpen catcher. So you basically just sit in the dugout, chew your bubble gum, maybe stand up on the railing and cheer a little bit here and there. But
pinch hit here and there.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably is one of the better gigs.
Yeah.
But
I've always wanted to be a 12th man in basketball.
Yeah, pay me the league minimum.
Put me in garbage time, and I'll just go out there and jack some threes.
Anything else happened this past week in the 9th?
Well, yeah, big game Friday night.
Ryle and Connor.
Ryle beat Connor to claim the top seed in the 33rd, which is a big deal in that district.
Well, Coach Dorning listened to us. We told him not to run our.
Yeah, and then Snap. They're now in the All A semis.
Well, Northern Kentucky, man, they're representing well.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised that Walton Verona beat Martin County.
Well, I was too, especially with Keithley. I mean, that kid's a bucket, and
they contain him well.
You got Walton Verona, you got
Newport on the boys.
Newport, then you got Cove Cath girls, you got Brossart girls. I mean,
Holy Cross,
Holy Cross girls. I mean,
it could be. I feel confident saying It'll be an all Northern Kentucky girls final. Boys, Walton Verona has to play Caverna, who Caverna's really good.
Yeah, they are. And they just hired former 10th region assistant coach Jordan Brangers as an assistant at Caverna.
Oh wow, he's been around the last few years.
He does a good job developing, so he's going to be an asset to that staff.
I mean, he's a great coach. I mean, like I remember him at Bracken County, and like, you know, I would see the other team call a play, and he would tell his guys he would know exactly where that play's going. So
the man watches. I remember he used to put his notes in his film. He watches a lot of films, so he's always prepared, which I think is a great quality to have in a coach. But
I mean, that's an assistant that you want, though, like a guy that's going to be on the front line of your bench. He's seeing what the other play is, and he's telling your guys, "Hey, there's a screen here. He's coming off a flare," you know, things like that.
Right.
I mean, you don't get that too often. You know, not at every job. You know, you don't get guys like that.
And if he knows the set when it's just called, I mean, that's saving you 6-8 points a game.
Probably.
And think about it. That's a lot of points over a course of 4 quarters. But I'm curious to see how the Brossard girls and Owensboro Catholic turn out. Owensboro Catholic's usually a pretty solid program, but Brossard's 21. They're tough. I mean, they play good defense. You saw the other day they're capable of putting up big points. They scored 60-some against Danville Christian, and they got a girl 6'10". Did you know that?
I don't know if she played that game or she got hurt during.
They got another girl over 6 foot, but then they got one at 6. Huh?
They got some height for sure.
Yeah. But so hats off to Coach Stam, and hats off also to the 9th region schools of Holy Cross girls as well as Newport boys, and even Mike Hester there at Walton Verona. I know he's an 8th region guy, but I like Coach Hester. He's a little fiery. He'll have Walton Verona ready to go.
Yeah, I'm hoping to catch Mike on Friday. They play Simon Kenton in a big district game, which most likely will be for the 1 seed. So I always enjoy catching that game. It's a good rivalry. And then, I mean, the way with Newport, I called them the cardiac cats in my write-up because their last 3 games they beat Holy Cross by 3 in the 9th region All-A championship, beat LCA at the buzzer on a coast-to-coast layup from Amante Lowe, and then beat Harlan by 1 in overtime. So that's 3 straight games where they've won by a total of 6 points.
For selfish reasons as well as podcast reasons, I was kind of hoping that Nicholas County could beat Harlan, because I'd like to have seen Nicholas County and Newport just for, you know, both being local schools. But once again, hats off to Coach Morris and Nicholas County for their Class A championship. But I saw this past week where Campbell County went to Montgomery County, and Montgomery County beat them by 12. So that's another. And it doesn't get any easier for Coach Souter. He's got Cove Cath next on Tuesday, barring the weather, of course. You know, Mother Nature, she's blocking a lot of shots right now. She's putting up some huge defense. But then after that, I don't know anything about Community Christian Academy, but then I know that he's got Highlands. He's got Covington Holy Cross coming up, and Simon Kenton. I mean, he's got a rough schedule to finish out with Campbell. Campbell may have several losses going into the regional tournament, but I think this is a team he believes in and thinks can make a run.
Yeah, I think that also shows there's a clear top 2 in the 10th right now. I didn't really get to see the dynamics of that game, but a double-digit victory, you know, I think it shows that it's 1-2 with GRC and MoCo, and then
and that's kind of what
you can make an argument between 3 through 5 between Campbell, Nicholas, and you know you can even throw Brossard's name in that hat because they did beat Campbell, and you know they did lose to Nicholas, so you know 3.
Yeah, I still think there's a gap between Campbell and those schools, but I think if Campbell and Brossard get to play again in the district tournament or whatever, you might see a more focused Campbell County team. I think Brossard County may have got their attention, but it was like, and maybe I'll see if I can get Coach High, but it seems like Montgomery County's made a pretty, you know, I'm not going to say easy transition, but they seem to transition pretty well because it's never easy on the team, the new coach, the old coach, whatever, when a coaching change happens that close to the start of a season or, you know, but Montgomery County's 10-7 right now, and, you know, they've got a pretty rough schedule. So,
I mean, there are only 3 losses this month. They're Bryan Station, who's arguably a top 15 team in the state, Princeton out of Ohio, who's loaded, and then GRC by 6, which was you know a close game. And
they got GR, and that was at home. They got GRC away coming up at the end of the month, which will be another good one. But Dustin High's done a really good job. So I may see if I can get Dustin on next week if he's got some time, just to hear him talk about the transition and taking over, a boys team. And it's tough when you've coached girls and to switch over and coach boys, or different styles of basketball for sure. But another Bracken County, Terry King. Somebody told me they were starting to work on his statue out there in Brooksville. He what was it, 39 straight games that Mason County had beaten Bracken County, or 32 or 39?
It has been since 1999. So, and there's oftentimes they play at least 2, if not 3 times a year because of district tournament.
Well, and sometimes, when they didn't seed, they may not played at all. Depending on, I don't know how they scheduled when there wasn't when I
was there. I felt like Mason Bracken played at least once a year,
every year.
Yeah,
but Bracken County, I think I saw the standings for that district, and I think Bracken County's 3-1 for the district, and Augusta's 1-2, St. Pat's 1-2, Mason's 2-2. So that could be fun to watch down the stretch. But Bracken County 10-7. So hats off to Terry King, or 10-8. I'm sorry, 10-8. But this coming week, I think GRC, they'll have 2 they have 2 district games this week. They got Bourbon on the road, Montgomery at home, so it could be a big week for the whole 40th district. I feel like Scott High's coming on.
Yeah, they got a big one Friday with Brossart.
Yeah, and I was going to say that they got St. Henry Tuesday, which I think could be a good game, and then Brossart Friday, and that's at Scott. So if you go look at that district, Scott's 0-2 in the district, Campbell's 2-1, Brossart's 1-0, and Calvary's 1-0. And so Brossart's only played 1 district game. So they still they got Scott on Friday, then I'm sure they'll have Calvary somewhere.
Yeah, I thought they had already played Calvary, but maybe that's still
1-0 on Ryherds, unless
they played them February 3rd. So if Brossart wins that game Friday, then they beat Calvary. They'll be the 1 seed going in. And then I think if Scott loses Friday, they'd be the 4. So you'd be looking at Bishop, Brossart, Scott again for a 1-4 game, where Calvary would be the 3 because they beat Scott head to head.
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Fromeyer, that's a game that might be kind of kicking him right now, but that was coming after a very big I know they played, I think, Penalty County the night before and just played really well, shot the ball really well, then only put up like 38 points the next night against Calvary or something. They didn't score very many.
Yeah. They got a nice
49-40. So, but Scott's on a roll. They've won 4 out of their last 5, and the only loss being to Campbell.
Yeah, they got a nice transfer that came in here.
Have you seen him play yet?
Benjamin Brown. He's a freshman. I have not seen him play. I've seen some highlights and stuff.
So he's freshman age. I saw where he was like the number 2 freshman in Nevada, but I didn't know if that's when he was a freshman or if he's currently a freshman.
Class-wise, he's a freshman, yeah. Not sure.
I can tell you what, I've looked at his numbers. I've not seen him play in person yet, but I've talked to a couple people that have. And
he put up 32, I think, on Campbell.
Well, he's only played 5 games, and he's averaging 26 a contest. So,
yeah,
130 points in 5 games. I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, he put up – it was 33 against Campbell, 13 to 23 from the field. So,
here's the area, just looking at Scott's stats, they only average 22 rebounds a game, 22.6. He would be their leader at 3.8 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's where the player that got hurt was it Hamilton or Hampton
for Scott? Yeah, Scott. Hampton. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that hurt them bad.
But it seemed like they're playing pretty well.
Playing better. Trying to look at other big games this week. Like I mentioned with Coach Walker, Lloyd Dixie on Tuesday. I'm not even gonna look at anything tomorrow because no one's playing tomorrow.
I'll be shocked if anybody plays Tuesday.
Yeah, that's probably true too. But like you said, Campbell County at Cuffcath on Tuesday. Campbell County beat them last year, so Cuffcath will come out ticked off, I imagine.
I'm kind of curious. What's going on with Beechwood?
Just
Tougher schedule.
Lost some close games. Yeah, the schedule's really picked up for them. But yeah, they started 10-0. They're 3-7 in their last 10, but a lot of those games are close losses. They've been hit a little bit by the injury bug. They had their second leading scorer out, and then another player I think broke his nose in the Covington Catholic game. So
oh wow,
yeah,
I know.
McCormick had been out a little bit with an injury, and then I think it was Ryan Smith that broke his nose. So
the list you was talking about with Cov Cath list that we were talking about when we was talking about cash and 1,000 points. I saw where there was a Top Miller on there. I wonder if that's any relation to the Top Miller at Beechwood.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's not I don't think that's a very common last name. I mean, maybe in Northern Kentucky, but
yeah,
not a name I've heard of a lot.
Yeah, I mean Beechwood and Cuff Cath are so close. It's a very high possibility. Other than that, yeah, not too many huge games.
I think everybody's gearing up for district play now, and
yeah,
and I think everybody's going to have the same. This winter storm couldn't have come at a worse time because it's getting harder and harder to find dates. When you're looking at boy and girl double headers, and you got to work around 4 team schedules to try to find an open date, and it came back to bite us. We had to reschedule Nicholas County for the 5th, which would have had us playing the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we're not going to be able to play at the Hardwood Classic at Augusta this year against East Carter because that would have had us playing 4 games in 4 days. And, it's just we've already had injuries and sickness. And, this close to the postseason, it's too much to ask. But also I just saw where Peyton Hatton from Nicholas County scored his 1,000th point. So something else. But I saw where they must have made it back because they played Robertson County, I think, Friday night maybe.
Oh, really?
In a district show game or district seating game. So Nicholas girls and boys both played Robertson. So
dang, so they turned right back around and hit the road.
They must have wanted to get home.
I wonder if because their Thursday game was later. It's probably a 6:30, 7:30 Eastern.
So 7:30 our time, 6:30 Central time. Do you know when I heard somebody say, and I haven't really had a chance to talk to Coach Stam yet, but are they not playing the next round of Class A games like February 1st, like next weekend?
Yeah, next Sunday. Semis will be in the morning.
Boys, so will that be at Owensboro too?
Yeah.
So these teams are going to come back, play their games this week, then go back to Owensboro next.
Yep. Sunday.
My goodness.
And then if you make it to the championship, you're playing 2 games in one day. I think it's girls semis are 8 and 9:30. Boys semis are 11 and 12:30. And then the girls championship, I think, is at like 3, and the boys championship will
Does
follow.
Walton play Newport in the semis?
No, it's opposite bracket. Walton plays Caverna. Newport plays Lyon County.
Oh, yeah. So that's
a good game.
Be 2 good games. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the girls, like you mentioned, Broster plays Owensboro Catholic. Holy Cross plays. Is it LC?
I can look that up real quick.
I want to say it's LCA.
Holy Cross will play. Well, LCA. You're correct.
Yeah.
They appear to be having a pretty decent season, 16-5. So
yeah.
But all right. I hate that Coach Monroe couldn't join us tonight. Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully, with the cold weather and stuff, I know he has a newborn, and hopefully everything's okay there, and hopefully everything's, just hopefully something came up that wasn't an emergency situation. But can't wait till we have him on, and next week we'll look to be getting on a couple new guests. But anything else this week, Evan? I know there's, not really a whole lot going on.
Yeah, let's just hope you guys can get on the court. Like we said, tomorrow's obviously going to be a wash. Tuesday, probably wait and see.
Well, I know
maybe
Pendleton
even
County's we're still on level 3 snow emergency in Pendleton, and I think it's going to go up till midway, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. But the thing that gets me is if you go look at the temperatures, none of the snow's going anywhere. It's not going to melt. I think it's going to be like a high of 26. So I don't look for it to go anywhere. But before we go, I do want to shout out LINKnky, the largest newspaper in northern Kentucky covering Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties, as well as KDA, a leader in the K-12 furniture market from the 1st to the 16th regions. They've helped countless districts across the state redesign existing rooms as well as create visions for brand new buildings. Please reach out to Jackson Strong via email at jackson@kdaspaces.com or call 859-910-6750 with any questions or requests. Evan, stay warm, man. Keep that electric on. Make sure, hey, keep that water running. Don't let those pipes freeze. I had that happen not too long ago or last year, and then I had a pipe bust probably several months ago. It's a mess.
Cool.
So you don't want to be dealing with that. But to everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. Evan, I'll see you next week. Stay hot.
Stay hot, baby.
Yo, check it. 9th and 10th regions, stand up. I say stand up. Stand up. Bright lights shining, about to put on the show. The Stay Hot podcast where the real ones go. High school hoops, future legends on deck. Talking next up, star sport and Nike check. From the hardwood grind to the highlight play. Breaking ankles, dropping dimes, scoring every way. Chasing big moments in every manner. From driveway dreams to championship banners. It's the passion, the culture, the hustle, the grind. Every jumper, every crossover, greatness defined. Shooting the deep three or rocking the rims on a small town stage or in sold out gyms. So lace up your kicks, turn the volume up. The season don't end till we get to rough. Future legends in the making, every player grinds. A Stay Hot podcast where the stars align.